I might be the last person on the planet going through this evolution of not having wired bras anymore. But somehow I don't think so, because when you go to a department store, it seems still to be one of the only options. No, that's not true. There are many options, but wired bras and just sort of sturdy bras, and definitely the big filled cups, pre-filled cups, those are omnipresent, I would say. And I have like a funny history with it, and maybe this is of help to anyone. So what is my history? The fact is that I have a very narrow torso, and I do have cups, let's put it that way. And that where I grew up was a size that was not existent. And with time, I learned that only the Anglo-Saxon companies or producers of bras would have this size. And that would be in the UK, that would be a 28E. And in the US as well, but more like 30DD, as I come to understand. And growing up in mainland Europe, where that just didn't exist, it meant that every bra that I tried as a teenager and later on just completely didn't work. The back was way too large, you could adjust it, but then the cups were too wide. It just wouldn't work, it didn't exist. So you know what I did? I had bras made to size. How amazing is that? There was a corsetier, like corset maker and bra maker in my neighborhood. Incredible. That was just like time travel. I mean, it is a long time ago, but going in there was really like time traveling. And they would make a bra, and I'm so gutted that I didn't keep any of them, because I had probably 4 or 5 over many years. These were quite wide, you know, but the way that the cups were made from different pieces of cloth knitted together, it would just make the absolute perfect shape. And it was, of course, completely made to size, but it wasn't exactly sexy. I mean, tastes differ, but I wouldn't say it was sexy. And as a teenager and an adolescent wearing that, I guess it was a little bit extravagant to whomever saw it, because obviously you wouldn't see it when I wore things over it. But those were the days. That was the perfect bra. But it was definitely wired, but it fitted amazingly. And because of the wide straps and just the wide concept of it, a lot of cloth, it never pinched me. It wasn't annoying, let's put it that way. Then moving forward, I have lived in the UK and I've traveled to Manhattan, New York. And so that changed my experience, because in the UK you have many more sizes. And I used to go to Bravissimo. It's a chain. Those in the UK probably know of it. It's kind of in every town you will have one. And you can't just, well, you could just buy any odd bra, but you need to have a fitting. And my hopes weren't high, because, you know, my history, but they actually had my size. And so from then on, I had years of wearing wired bras in the correct size. But I have to say, they were always quite tight. And there is this whole theory, right? There's like, it seems to be two camps. One is also health-wise. Well, both have something to say about the health aspects of either a lot of support is good, or less support is better for blood circulation, for your lymphatic system. But that is one side. But the other side is, no way, you need to support, you really need have them to be high up and completely supported and exactly the right size. Otherwise you know you can get headaches, or you they will get out of shape because of gravity and so on. Boobs shouldn't be hanging, like coming out as if they're from your stomach. They should be higher. I don't know, there's really quite strong opinions on both sides, at least in the days when I was really occupying myself with all this. But where I'm getting at is that after all this, after years of wearing quite tight wired bras, I just evolved super recently as well in basically wearing something that I have in my cupboard for years, and I just would wear it as a loungy thing, or maybe to go to a Pilates class or something. And yeah, I'm still using this microphone because, it's what I had, and let's see where this all goes with me in my videos. I might not, I don't know. I don't maybe want to invest loads of it in it or something. But anyway, so this is what I'm wearing right now. And it's a People Tree, also UK brand. It's an ethical brand, and it's organic cotton, 95%, and 5% elastane, made in India. And it's a simple size UK 8 or US 4. And all of a sudden, this seems to be the best possible option for me. And the reason is that I started to feel tension on my stomach from those tight bras. And I'm sure lots of you are like, duh, but coming from this, like, you need to wear something that's supportive and the right fit, and it needs to be really fitting around your back. That took me such a long time to realize that it was actually uncomfortable, and not just, the wires themselves never really bothered me, but it was just the pressure on, like the solar plexus in yoga terms, or I don't know if that's an actual medical term, but it would just start creating this sort of burning sensation. I'm not talking about reflux. I'm really talking about a pressure constantly there, really annoying. And suddenly I grew this resistance to it. Like, I didn't want that anymore. And I just got to my People Tree little tops. And I'm just thinking, it's so much more relaxing. And yes, it doesn't have them up here, but what does that matter? It's a more natural shape, right? Now I'm wearing a body that kind of flattens them as well, but I'm thinking, as long as they are kind of not pushed, but they're held to your body, isn't that all we need? Why does it need to be like a separate compartment doing all these movements? And I'm thinking the reason might be because elastane didn't exist before, and so it was a way of keeping everything in. But now that we do have elastane, and now I am very critical of all the polyester everywhere, but there are benefits, even if it's 5%, that is doing all that for us, and not with all the restrictive sensations. For me, it's like eureka. I know it's a bit silly, but so in the UK, I went to Bravissimo, and I actually do recommend it, of course, also for, I don't know, bigger busted women might still have to do it, but I do wonder, isn't it the same? Like, if you just have like a bigger, just a top with some elastane that just keeps everything towards your body. Let me know. I'm quite intrigued if that can work also for bigger boobs. But yeah, so my last purchases were in New York, and it was funny because I went to Macy's, or the big department stores, and I was really expecting to have all this choice of beautiful bras in my size, the 28E, and they were like, nah, that we don't have that, they would just not store that neither. It was such a disillusion. And then through a vintage store shopkeeper, she was so friendly. She actually called a shop that she remembered, and it was in Orchard Street, which is historically an important street where they had a lot of cloth makers. And it was this Orthodox Jewish store, and you should look it up if these kind of things are of your interest. It was quite interesting. I came in there, and then the man said, like, he just looked at me and he said, like, go to the professor. And then his wife, in the navy blue Orthodox clothing, she's like, come on here. And then, like, closed the curtain, and it's like a bit of an experience. And apparently lots of people go there, and I don't know if it's true, but she said they were actually there for Demi Moore the previous day for Corsets for a new movie. I don't know if it's really true, but I believed her back then. She was very an interesting character. I quite liked her, actually. But I did come out, and I just got persuaded again into... So let's just show... I don't know what to do with this microphone, but these would be the sort of things that I had from Bravissimo for years. And they, in Orchard Street, they had exactly the same. And this is from the brand Panache, I think, the Clio. And it was my everyday. And yeah, it's not sexy either, is it? I was just going from the functional part. So this was a little bit more on the sexy side from Gossard. But what I came out of from that store was also things like this. And I think that's very American, isn't it? It's completely... I'm currently lost for the word. I mean, that's just adding 3 sizes or something when I would wear that. It's fun, but it's nowhere near realistic. Let's put it that way. I also got a corset. I think it was even the man saying, like, oh, you're not getting that? Come on. It's like all the rage. Everybody's wearing them or something like that. Or maybe that was something else. I don't know. Which is kind of weird with an Orthodox Jew saying that about a corset or something. But yeah, this as well. I just got it, but I haven't worn it. And this is also what I would wear a lot. That's again the Clio. I think, no, this is from Bravissimo, the brand itself. I mean, they've served me so well. They've been really, really great. But all of a sudden, I'm not going for them anymore. Never. Just not anymore. And I'm really amazed because this is after a couple of decennia of wearing these wired bras. And all of a sudden, I'm liberated. I don't know what caused it. Just time and wisdom. But yeah, that's it. I thought I would let you know. Oh yeah, and the woman working in the store said that lots of it doesn't matter. Information you do not need, I think. Anyway, yeah, that was me.